Any content provided by our bloggers or authors are of their opinion and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, municipality, individual, or anyone or anything.
He's a surgeon. He's a 100-ton boat captain. He's a lieutenant on Seaside Heights Beach Patrol in New Jersey. He's a member of the Coast Guard Auxiliary. He's Dr. Michael Kachmar. Need answers to your medical questions? We have them. Listen in to hear latest on medical topics related to all that and more.
Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Michael Kachmar. Thank you for tuning in to Lifeguards Off Duty.
With Dr. Michael Kachmar?
With Dr. Michael Kachmar. We're everything. We're lifeguarding. We're lifeguarding, and we're off duty right now. So thank you for tuning in. We're live right now on YouTube, Rumble, and Facebook.
Twitter, Twitch.
And Twitter, Twitch, yes.
All of the internet.
Right. We have the boys here today. We have Tyler. Say hello, Tyler. He's got his...
How's it going, gang?
He's got the new stash. I don't know what that is, but it's different.
My
for
pirate
sure.
stash.
The pirate stash.
Yeah.
And we have Sean.
Hello.
Sean's here.
Hi.
Sean, I like your shirt too, Sean. You got a little
Moses Malone.
Yeah. And we have a special guest today. But let me we'll put the board up here. Oop, it's not coming on. What happened? We cut ourselves off there.
Yeah, just
So-
the dual screen.
So the dual screen's doing.
Sean, you could probably move
I
that
got it.
camera.
Just move it a little bit so we
to
could see. There we go. So Colin, thank you for joining us. We're
Thank you for
linked
having
in.
me.
Where you at? What's your location, by the way?
I'm currently just outside of Ocean City, New Jersey. So
Oh, okay.
not too
Okay.
far south, but a
Okay.
little south.
All right, good. Well, thank you for joining us today. We would love to have you in the studio, but this is just as good. I tell you, I
Yeah,
love
we'll
this
have to make
technology.
that happen. It's great. It feels like I'm here.
Yeah,
We're all in the same room right now.
Yeah. And this is going live, so that's even better. So anyway,
Exactly.
I'm gonna. So today's date for everyone out there. Today is June the 28th?
28th.
Year of our Lord 2022, and we're all about lifeguarding, and we're gonna. I'm going to give it over to Tyler. Tyler will introduce Colin what you're doing and where you what your expertise is. But we've had a rough summer up here so far. I don't know. I know there's been a lot of drownings, and we've had some big ocean last week. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, there was some really nasty stuff. Today there was maybe 2 foot swell, maybe a foot, and we had a run cooking like you wouldn't believe. I actually almost had to go in.
You did.
Yeah, I had to take
Three little girls.
I had to take all my stuff off. I was down at the water's edge. I was just ready to run in on them.
Yeah,
But
that water's been moving.
Yeah, pretty bad.
Like crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. So anyway, I'm gonna go over to Tyler. You want to introduce our guest, and we could start.
Yeah, well,
So-
actually, I'm gonna pass it off to Sean because
Okay.
Sean's the one that's been getting to know Colin over the past couple weeks. So
Colin, you are the founder of SJL Racing.
You want to split the screen?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So SJL Racing is kind of like a sub name for
There it
our main
is.
production company is Five Tribe Cinema Productions, and that was a group of guys that we founded during COVID. Really is when we made it happen, but we were doing stuff under that name. We were in college, but it wasn't it didn't work out with didn't found the business officially with the government until 2019 whatever. But
Is there
Yep.
5 of you? How does the name come about?
no, it actually comes because we shot was the first thing I ever shot. I was like, you know what? I'm going to school for broadcast and journalism and film production. I want to make a short film. I took my best friends out in the woods with no budget, no acting experience, and we shot the worst short film ever. And it's a joke. And someone was like, you should name your company after that. And that's what we did. So
quick question: does
Yes.
that exist online for us to
it
check
did
out?
for a while, and then it got taken down because we were using the YouTube stock audio, but I guess somebody decided no, it's not stock audio anymore and pulled it for
wow.
copyright use. This is great. So I have a copy of it somewhere. I would have to dig that
Oh.
up, but it does exist still. It does exist.
You might have to get us a copy of that so
Oh
we
my
can
God,
do
it's
a
so bad.
screening.
The cherry on top is my roommate at the time was a very, very muscular Croatian who rode on the team with us, and he was speaking in Croatian the whole time, and he was like, "This is going to be cool," and I was like, "This sounds great." No one understood what he was saying, and after I looked up what he was saying, I was horrified because I had to cut most of it because it was horrible swearing. And I put the captions in like, "Oh, I want to make you into carpet," when it was really like, "I'm going to do something horrible to you."
So SJL Racing, right? You're covering
Yes.
surf competitions.
Yep.
How, like, so obviously you went to film school, or did you go? Was it like specifically film school you
Yeah.
went to?
Drexel is very interesting in the way that they do it's film and video production, but as I was there, they were combining it with the television broadcast section because in reality, those two trades are merging so fast. I mean,
Yeah.
a TV show is shot the same way as a movie is with the same camera and the same techniques, just on a tighter time scale and for
So
more.
much of journalism and all of that is now like they're looking for people that have like multimedia. You know,
Exactly.
It's not just
Yep.
are you a good writer? Are you a good
Yep.
photographer? You need to be
Yep.
able to do everything. They want people that
Yep.
can shoot, edit, write copy, all of it.
Yep. All
Yeah.
in one. And it's crazy too, because the technology camera wise, like for example, the camera that we use is an all in one. Like this camera that I'm shooting on right now is a cinema camera that can also be plugged into a switcher like I am now and become a broadcast camera. So it's multifaceted, but it's the same thing. So
Very
it's
cool.
incredible. Yeah, it's incredible how this stuff's like all merging into one. So
And SJL Racing was not originally just lifeguarding. It was rowing in Pennsylvania, Philly area.
SJL we were doing that for the organization. So we started live streaming broadcasts, some of the local Philly races like the Manny Flicks, which are the high school races. And then this year we added onto that docket, Daville, Stotesbury, and the Philadelphia City Championships, which are and Head of the Schuylkill, which are the big regattas in Philadelphia with college teams coming across the country. And sometimes for Head of the Schuylkill, there's some internationals. But we had all this camera gear and equipment, and my buddy who lives in Ocean City was like, hey, we're not doing anything in the summer. Why don't we go shoot some lifeguard races and maybe we could live stream it? So I was like, hey, let's see what happens. Went to the Chiefs meetings, talked to them, talked to the individual beach patrols, and they were like, this is great publicity. And we did 4 individual races under that banner of South Jersey Racing. We made that for the lifeguard events, and that's solely for that because like when I broadcast like the Head of the Schuylkill or the Daville Regatta, I'm on their YouTube page and on their Facebook page, so I just use their stuff. But when we're on our own, this doesn't exist. Like nobody was doing this before we started. Said, hey, let's try this. So there's no like South Jersey rowing thing for right now. It's basically the 15 beach patrols and the jerseys, the Jersey Championships, and that's kind of where we're at right now.
Colin, did you ever guard?
Yes, that's one of the things is like I know what we're looking for because I guarded in Strathmere for 4 years. So like it was like, oh, this would be easy, and I already knew who to talk to and how the structure of the organization worked, and most of the loopholes. But every town's got their own little things that you need to work through.
Colin, tell everybody out there in our audience where Strathmore is because I know where it is, and like I don't think anybody knows. Sean is like shaking his head. They have no idea, but it's that's South Jersey. Yeah, but tell them what it is.
The most well-kept secret in South Jersey is in between Sea Isle City and Ocean City. There is the tip of the Sea Isle southern tip is its own town and municipality, owned and operated by Upper Township, which is on the mainland. There's no bridge in. You have to either go through Ocean City or Sea Isle to get to it. And it's like a town of like 50 people. And it's incredible because it's like the most quiet, subdued little beach community you can find in the middle of, Cape May, Wildwood, Avalon, all these huge towns. Just this little sleeper right in the middle. And it's its own municipality under... It's crazy.
Yeah. I want to throw, what I used to do was we go down to Cape May, and have dinner down there, or we would stay overnight sometimes at the Congress Hall.
Yeah.
Have dinner at the Virginia House, and then we would drive right after you get out of Cape May. There's a road, I guess it's called Ocean Road, and you go
Ocean Drive,
all the way up to Atlantic City, and you guys
Yep.
all these little towns, and of course Ventnor we know about, but it's really pretty back there, and it's a part of South Jersey that people have no idea about. And I love Cape May.
Yeah.
I competed in Cape May in some region national lifeguards tournaments, and it faces south, so you get the sun come up on your left and it goes down on your right, so you almost the sun's in front of you the whole day, so you get this because I guess it faces south. If you go up on one of the buildings there, you could see Delaware. You could see some of the high rises. So it's a very unique place. That whole area down there is really people. There's people who come from Philly, go to lifeguard there or go to the beach there, and never know about Seaside. I mean, they heard maybe Asbury because it's Bruce Springsteen, but Seaside Park, Lavalette, they have no idea. I've been in tournaments there and I go, what's that beach? Are you Stone Harbor? I go, no, I'm Seaside Heights. Like, Seaside Heights? Before Snooki and all that, they had no idea.
No idea. It's weird. It's like these two separate like entities, north and south, separated by LBI. It's the most like even LBI is like this mysterious place that people go, "Oh, you went to LBI? Oh."
Yeah, it is. That's very true. That's very true. I'm just moving this over a little bit.
The Jersey Shore is a very interesting place with a lot of different.
So so you worked there for 4 years, you said?
4 years. Wow. And then at Drexel, they have the program goes that you do co-op positions, which is like an internship, but it's part of your schooling. So your summers are your co-op, and then you go back to school, but you get paid to do school. So I'm getting course credit at the same time I'm working and getting paid. And I was like, this is incredible. So that's kind of, I had to like put the beach patrol to the side and be like, all right, now I'm doing something with my career.
So you were in the crew for Drexel?
Yes, I rode.
Now, so let me ask you: when you competed, did you guys go up to Boston? There's a big.
Oh, Charles, yeah.
Yeah, is it Charles or is it St. Charles or Charles River?
It's the head of the Charles, yeah.
Right.
We did. I was only able to go once, and it was one of the most spectacular experiences of my life. It was really fun, and I'm glad we went. But it's a tough race to get into because so many people want to get in that they can only host. You can't just bring your whole team. No,
if you could just tell us a little bit about it, because I went up. I used to go up there for seminars. I used to stay at the Copley Plaza, and I'm a physician. I used to go to Harvard Medical School. Would have all these really great courses. So a lot of doctors all around the country would go up there, and it just so happens, I don't know if I planned it that way, but they had the big race up there, the regatta, whatever it was, and my hotel, which was the Copley Plaza, I could see the river, and in the morning you see these guys with, they got the bullhorn, they got the Labrador dog in the back, they're rowing. I mean, it was just amazing to see. I'm very sure that was a lot on show, but that's and of course I went to school in Philly, and they got they row I guess the Schuylkill it is. What's
Schuylkill,
the river? Yeah, and the boathouses. It's always iconic. They are all lit up. The boathouses at night. And that's really, but can you just tell us, because you went there once, so how was that race? Like what, because that's an amazing thing.
Yeah, that was my sophomore year. And that year we had gotten entry, because you get crews from across the world coming to this thing. We actually had to the following weekend, the Chinese national team came to Philly after the Charles and was like, hey, can we borrow a boat? It's crazy stuff like this that you get. And so our varsity 8 was racing in the open event, and we still had a bid in the collegiate championship 8. So our coach was like, hey, why don't we just go throw the 2V in? So I was in the second 8, the sophomore, and we'll go row the head of the Charles as a 2V in the collegiate 8, which is, you're racing against not slow teams like Temple and MIT, stuff that our 1V would be competitive with in the spring. And our coach was like, let's see what happens. So we go up there, and we're like, this is incredible experience and all this stuff. And we get down to the race, and it's like this whipping tailwind. Like, you could just see that people were flying down the course. And this is a 5,000-meter race, so this is like 12 to 16 minutes, I guess. I don't have the times off the top of my head, but it's long. And so we start cruising, and our coxswain had looked up, who's the guy who's steering the boat. He looked up the course records and times, and he said, some people are going to break the course record today, so let's see how close we can get. We're going down the course, and there's this boat right up our butt, and we're like, oh my God, these guys, this is the 1V, we're keeping up with them, but my God, they're just keeping up with us. And there's these guys, and they were in giant pink suits with a giant B on the back of it. I found out later they were from Bates, and they were doing something for breast cancer, but we were like, our coxswain's like, don't lose to the guys with the giant pink B on their chest. And we're just cranking down the course, and my roommate who was that Croatian, the big muscular Croatian kid, he always joked around that he would say, this is my swamp, like the river was this swamp, like Shrek. And our coxswain just gets the last 500 meters, and we're like gassed, and he's looking at the time, and he's like, oh my God, we're on pace to break the course record. And he screams, Leon, protect the swamp. And you just hear from the back, my swamp. And this kid just starts cranking, and everybody's like, screw it, we're doing it too. And we flew by the finish line, And at the finish, he goes, "Holy crap, guys, we just broke the course record." And we're like, "Oh my God, we just won head of the Charles. We just won head of the Charles as the second 8 in the first 8 category. Woo!" We pull up on the dock, and our coach comes down. He's like, "Guys, look like a fast race." We're like, "Yeah, coach, we just broke the course record." He's like, "Oh my God, that's not supposed to happen." And then we get back on land and to find out that not only did we break the course record, but 6 other boats broke the course record. So we were the last boat. We came, I think, 7th, and the difference between us and 3rd place was 0.5 seconds.
Wow.
And every single boat broke the course record. That boat behind us ended up, I think, winning it. So it was funny because we were watching the guys with the big B, pink B, had ended up winning the head of the Charles, and we were like, "Don't lose to them."
All right. So Colin, just explain the boat that you had. So how many rowers are in it? How big was the boat? And like, there's coxswain, so just give it for somebody who has no idea. Just kind of paint us a picture so people who we don't have it. Because great if we could pull up a picture. I don't know if
it's an 8-man shell. This one was made by a German company called Empacher, so it's big and yellow. There's 8 people rowing in it, and it alternates sides. So, for example, person in stroke seat, which is closest to the so. Let me back up a little bit. Starts with the coxswain's in the stern, so the back of the boat, and he has the control of the rudder. He has a headset on with a microphone, and he can command the boat, and he steers at the same time. And usually, it's a light guy. Rules are you have to be 125 pounds minimum, and then you can go up from there. But you want to have like 125-pound coxswain on the dot. Less weight to carry around. Then you have what's called stroke seat, and he's the person setting the rhythm of the boat. Everyone's following this person, and they're trying to keep the stroke rating going, keep the rhythm loose, keep it moving. It's like a bike tire. Once you get it up to speed, you want to just get the constant rhythm going with the bike. Step, 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 step. And that's what I was that time. I was stroke seat, and then behind me are 7 other guys, and the oars alternate. So I'm a port side rower, so I had one oar to my right, and the next guy would have it to the left, and then the next guy would have it to the right.
Wow. So
and it goes all the way up.
Right,
one oar, yep. And then you're basically just trying to match the person behind you so that you're like a mirror of each other.
I feel like Crew's most popular thing in media was the Social Network when the twins.
Yes. It's funny you say that because there's a guy on the Drexel team who was in the 1V that race. He ended up getting selected and rowing at the Olympics in the men's 8. He was 2-seat. And they asked him, he said, "What got you into rowing?" And he said, "It was that scene in the Social Network that made me think I want to be a rower." So thank you to Mark Zuckerberg and who were the twins?
Yeah, what was the twins' name?
Armie Hammer, right? Yeah, it was the Winklevoss twins.
Winklevoss.
Yeah.
Now, Colin, how applicable is the technique from rowing like a surf boat to rowing these kind of boats?
It's completely different. Like that boat is all leg and hip drive, whereas the surf boat, you're just going arms and back, arms and back.
Yeah.
And that was like the hard thing because I used to compete for both, like try to compete for both. And then I realized I was like, these two aren't working together. Like I would like go for rows in the morning for flat water rowing because I was trying to, keep up in shape with the Drexel guys. And I was like, I could just hop in a surf boat and it'll be, all the training. When I was like, no, it's not working for me.
You guys train with the Concept 2 rowers? Those.
Yeah.
Is that what do you got? I mean, when you can't, obviously you want to try to do the specific sport and row.
Yep.
With the boats, but do they set up like a boat in a garage somewhere, or do you do the Concept 2 rower? Is it alternative?
Yep.
Like what?
In the winters, we call it winter training, and this is mostly an East Coast thing because on the West Coast you can row all year round. In Florida, you can row all year round. It's kind of like you have to force yourself to do this. But here in the East Coast, Northeast, you have to do this. You bring the crew, the guys just come together, and you have like a room full of like 50 of these ergs all lined up. And the coach is coaching dependent. I coach high school girls, and so what I like to do is line them all up in a row and go first erg, second erg, third erg, fourth erg, fifth erg, sixth erg, seventh erg, eighth erg, next row. And then your pecking order. Like here's the top 8. This is our top 8. Next is the second 8. Next is the third 8. And you know where you stand numbers wise. And every time we do like a competitive piece, I will move you up according to how you did so that you're always fluctuating around and you're seeing how you're improving or how somebody's catching up to you. And it kind of makes you think. And you just spend hours, you just plug away meters like you would do on the water, except you're sitting on this erg going back and forth, and it's not the most exciting thing in the world. Kind of painful, but it's the best training you can do when you can't row.
How many meters, like when you, like, cause I have the Concept 2 rower. I do like 5,000 meters, like what do you, like try to keep it under 10 minutes,
Workout dependent. For low intensity, high volume work, which is what you do about 65 to 70% of the time. For men in college, we would be averaging between 16 to 20K on the erg.
Wow.
Yeah, and on the water, it would be something like 20 to 30K if you could do that in an 8. But it's great. It literally blew my mind because I came from Ocean City High School and our program wasn't like well established and had all this crazy. And when I got to college and saw what these guys were doing, I was like, sweet Jesus, I gotta step up or go home. This is crazy. Like these guys were doing like 30 to 40K a day just to make like the second 8.
Wow.
Like, this is hardcore and,
so
it pays off.
Wow.
So this whole time you're going to film school, you're rowing crew, you have this background in lifeguarding. Like, are you always in the back of your head like, how can I use what I'm learning in school to share this with people? Like, was this always one of your goals?
In the back of my mind, yes, because like you don't you see what you can do with the certain things, and it's just at the time I didn't quite know how to put 2 and 2 together you was like, you could do this, could be interesting. We did that, and then I saw a couple guys down here do one of the lifeguard races, and it blew my mind because it was this guy catching a wave from like a quarter mile out and riding it on a Van Dyne all the way into shore, and I was like, oh my god, like from the air you can see so much. Like you can see the beginning of the race, whereas on ground you can only see the start really, and then you're kind of like, looks like lane 3's out, you're making it up really. You just, pardon my French, bullshitting the whole time just to make, oh, this looks great, but when I saw that drone footage, I realized that like this could be so much more. Like you could see the whole race and you could offer something live in a sense. And it just took time for the technology to progress to the point where that became a thing that we could easily do.
So you haven't covered any lifeguard races this year yet, right?
No, our calendar will start on, I can look that up real fast because I have it up. There you are, my friend. Where are you? Our first race will be the Brigantine Invitational on the 14th. And I kind of have to do that, not because I don't want to, because it is an awesome race. It's basically bumper boats, demolition derby. It's awesome. But the head coach of Drexel is in charge of that race. So he was like, hey, can you come by? And I was like, you got it, coach.
He rows, right? Or he for Margate?
Yeah.
Margate?
No, Brigantine.
Brigantine, Margate.
Yeah, Paul Savel's his name. He's actually right now in England with the Drexel team, and they're competing at the Henley Royal Regatta. So he'll be back in time for that, hopefully, and we'll catch up. But he's his son, I think his sons, plural, are the doubles crew for Brigantine right now.
So these 2 races you're doing are the first races with your partnership with NBC?
No, this will be just so it's kind of weird what they wanted to do. They wanted I can't really talk too much in depth about it because of the contract. Nothing's really stipulated, but the idea was this year to kind of like put your toes in the water, and they wanted to see like, is there an audience for this? Can we do it live? Can we do multiple races? What's it looking like? So we're gonna record this thing, put it together, slap some graphics on there that say this is the race results, this is who this is this in post, and then we're gonna put that together as a 1 hour special, put some stuff in between where it's like, oh, here's how lifeguard racing works, here's the competitors, here's their history, here's their story, awesome. They'll interview bits, and then we're gonna give that 1 hour special over to their quality control department. They'll approve it, disprove it, we'll make the changes, and then they'll put it on TV and their streaming service, and that'll be sometime later in the year. So it's not live per se. But part of the thing I wanted to do was to make sure we kept that live element. So the only 2 races that will be live streaming will be in August. It'll be the same races we record for NBC, but then we'll also do them live so that you can go and watch them live and then afterwards cut it up and send it to them. That's just how they wanted to do it.
And that's going to be on your YouTube?
Yep, that'll be on our YouTube channel.
SJL Racing?
Yep. But in terms of the race on the 14th and some of the other races, we like to go out to some of the races that are kind of exciting and fun. And like, for example, that Brigantine race is a relay event. So you got boats coming in as boats are coming out, and swimmers and paddleboards coming in and picking up swimmers, throwing them in the boat, rowing them back in and throwing them out halfway through the surf, all kinds of crazy stuff. We'll go out there with a drone and 2 cameras and just film it and then cut it into like a trailer almost, a sizzle reel. And we got a couple of those up specifically from the Brigantine race last year and AC Classics. But we want to do a couple more because we weren't able to stream as many as we were last year.
Do you bring a trailer on the beach every time, or like how does like the base of operations work for watching? Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh, you'd love to know about this. So what happened? Like we usually have like a pretty easy setup. Like we know this Philly races, they're like you have Temple. Temple is a boathouse. Temple has power. You got a little deck that you can put your stuff on.
I didn't even think about electricity.
Yeah, you put an internet, all this stuff that you don't think about, and then now it's my job to think about. But we'll put the table down, put the computer on it, and all the stuff. And we used to be using a 60-pound Mac Pro. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's the big cheese grater thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what we were using for a while. I switched over to a Mac Mini because that was ridiculous. And we would just set up, put the cameras out, and we're good. Well, what we didn't think about was we're on a beach on sand that moves. And we were like, okay, maybe we can use their headquarters. And then they were like, no, we do things from the headquarters. So it was like, okay, so what do we do? So for like some races, like the women's race last year, they were like, you see that patch of sand over there in the corner? Yeah, put your table on that. So that's the game plan for this year is to figure out how we can get more sufficiently set up in a place. I mean, it was great that they let us in, but it was kind of like, here's the patch.
How big is your crew per race, like that you're working with?
This year we're going to be bumping up a little bit. Last year we had 2 drones and 2 ground cameras, and we had a graphics guy who would be like typing in like winner of the race or points. Whenever they would be able to get us the points information, we would update with a scorecard. And then we had somebody actually switching, and then myself calling shots. And that was it 6 or 7 people. But this year we're adding in a 3rd drone, hopefully, and 1 more ground camera because we have these really big telezoom lenses so that you can get like at the flag, because we want to kind of get that front on shot as people are coming out and that back on shot as they go out, and then use the drone to one drone will get the wide angle, and then the other drone will get the race leaders. One will be following first place, one will be following second place, because we realize that a lot of the times the boats will get separated. So like first place will be in lane 1 and then second place will be in like lane 16. So at Jersey's last year, we had this huge gap in between the 2 boats, and they were like going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And I kept telling the drone operator, I was like, zip over to the south side because now Sea Isle's in first. Zip over to the other side because Longport's in first. Now zip back over because Wildwood just took over. And it's like, whoa, we're everywhere, guys. So we're like 3 drones, 2 getting down low, and then 1 getting wide. We'll go from there.
Well, that's good. It's you talk about the technology. We put this together, and you're not here. We have a studio. I mean, we got 4 cameras here, and we have the audio, the video. It took me a long time, and like you said, you have to start thinking ahead. And I thought about doing. We want to do some more live stuff. I'm just happy to do stuff on the beach. We want to try to get some rescues and the interfacing with the people on the beach. But you start realizing the challenge. Like I could, with you, I thought about that. If you want to do a live tournament, you need to have drones. You need to have telescopic cameras. They got to be mounted. They can't be vibrating. Yep. People don't realize. I mean, there's a lot. And I was thinking about like what you're talking about. I would love to have it where you got cameras where you start. You got cameras
at the turn. Like the turn, you want one, and then
in the water, GoPros in the water. You want
the waves are breaking, so if the boats can't catch anything.
If you look at Bondi Beach, they got guys in the water with cameras. I mean, it's and then you got to deal with all this footage and you got to edit it. And I do Final Cut Pro, which and we're learning how to do it, but it's amazing. It's just a lot of work, and I can only imagine like for you to have so you can do it live. That's one thing, and then if you want to then chip it down and have something that's a finished product, and add in interviews and stuff. That's hard. It's not ezy.
And Colin, you're talking over the broadcasting, so you're not the one. Are you dictating in real time what camera's airing? Do you have the button set up?
So what we have is on here. With these cameras that we have now, they'll have tally lights in them. So what happens is I have a radio, and I'll be like, all right, camera 3, pan over to lane 3. You'll see it says Margate on the side. They're in first place, and then follow them. And then that's what we were doing before. But now that we have 3 cameras, I can have 3 different boats of 1, 2, and 3 in shot. And what I was doing was I can say, camera 2. ready camera 2, take camera 2, and then I hit camera 2, and then on their screen will flash a red light at the top, and it says you're on. So they know, don't do anything stupid because you're on live television.
stay what you're
So,
doing.
so Colin, let me ask you this: are you guys using, like, for your video mixer, are you using like a Black Magic or like what's some of the equipment?
Yep.
So you're using Black Magic for that, and then what are you using for your audio? Like, we're using a Rodecaster. Just a little technical people out there.
Yeah.
I like to
Nothing
just
crazy. I just got an audio board from Amazon that was like $200 that has all the mixing is done in-house in the board. That's the thing about the Blackmagic system is that it blew people's minds when they first released it, because it's not only is it a video switcher, but it's got a color corrector unit in it.
Yeah.
It's got an audio corrector unit. It has an encoder built into it. Has an isolated recording feature where I can record each individual track separately, and then I can also record the master. Each individual audio track separately. You can also record or control it all from a computer. So what we do is I'll have a guy sitting there with a laptop, and he has the same software up, and he's controlling the audio levels. Then I'll have another guy up with the control surface for the board itself. And then in the future, when we get these cameras hooked up, we'll have a guy doing the color correction right there. So he'll be tweaking it as it's going. And you can do all that from your laptop.
What kind of cameras are you using? May I ask?
We're total Blackmagic.
Oh, so you're using the Blackmagic
out.
cameras.
Yeah, because we were talking
Yeah.
about earlier before we started, like my cinema camera is also a broadcast camera, and it's also a film camera that can shoot for Netflix, and it has a studio capability. So right now it has a tally light on the top, and why would I go buy a Sony camera when it doesn't give me the same functionality as like the Blackmagic? Like I can go in here right now and be like, all right, I'm a little dark, so let me pull up the gain here a little bit and just make it a little brighter.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like that's what I'm talking about. Like I can't do that with a Sony camera because Sony
No.
doesn't hook into the Blackmagic ecosphere.
Yeah,
so.
but the Sony cameras we have are $800. The camera you got is what, $3,000, right?
Oh, they're cheap. No, actually, they're real cheap.
How much are the Blackmagics?
The starting cinema camera is $1,300.
Oh, that's not too bad.
You got
The
Kachmar
six-
thinking about redoing the whole studio.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
He's got cogs firing right now.
Something to think about. Yeah, I mean, like I can also do this. Like, oh, I'm out of focus. Let me fix the focus from this board, and I can change the focus. You just went to the back, and now you're at the front. But the camera that I'm using is the just because it's easier than the broadcast cameras we use, because we actually have the Ursa broadcast. This is just this pocket cinema camera. It's $2,500. Comes with built-in ND, and you can put an EF lens on it.
What
6K footage.
What streaming service are you using? Like, you just going right to? Are you using Blackmagic?
Right to YouTube right now.
With the Blackmagic, because you go right from Blackmagic there. Yeah, we have Restream on the background here. We have Ecom. So Restream gives us the ability to go multiple entities.
Multiple platforms.
Kachmar loves explaining this stuff to guests, and you're the first one
Yes.
that's ever been able to understand what the hell.
Understand everything he's saying. I got it, guys.
Well, there's tons.
He brings the guest, and he's like, "Oh, we got the Blackmagic and the Rodecaster."
But there's tons of people just do videos on this. But when you get into it, it is really amazing. Well,
I know why you brought me on the show. Now you needed someone to talk about.
Oh,
yeah,
we do.
What I wanted to ask you, because you say, you're starting to. Nobody's doing this. Nobody's doing what we're doing either. Nobody has a lifeguard show that I know. We've researched it. We didn't see anything that's anywhere close to this. And our whole goal was to bring lifeguarding to a higher level, to show them that we're serious. There's a lot of professionals, and I think the competition, especially South Jersey, with the boats, the level of athleticism. I mean, what is that? How would I say?
Even just mastery of the boat.
I mean, these guys are heavy duty athletes. I mean, like right now. Lavalette, they got I think 2 Division I swimmers, but the competition is up there. It's really good and it's really exciting. And I think so I think there's a huge market for everything that we're doing. We're all about lifeguarding for sure. And I think what you're doing, I give you all my. I hope you're very, very successful. And it'd be good to interview these people. Like I know Red Bull's doing some stuff, and but it's like kind of here and there. And you get. Well, you look at some of the videos that are out there that are. Like I'll go look at some lifeguard video that was 5 years ago, and they have like 100,000 views. They only did one video, and that's it. So there is a market out there and also a desire. And you got to think about all the lifeguards in the whole world. I mean, they were all over the place. South America, you know,
we got a comment on the South Jersey Championship. I forget if the guy was from like Italy, but he said like, "Hey, I'm in this country. I used to row for Ventnor, and it's amazing that I can see the races that I used to love so much." And it was just that to me, like sold
awesome.
it to me. It's like it's people who it's such a time honored tradition. Like where I come from, there's like families that have done this for generations and generations. Like I rode. My head coach was a Moar, Mike Millar, John Millar. Their brothers rode. They were all beach patrol guys. They're South Jersey champions, and then their sons now row, and their grandparents. It's like this multiple generation thing, and it's like it's a thing down here that. And as you were saying, like it's exciting. It's fun. It's different. Like if you get a bird's eye view, any given Sunday, anything can happen. Somebody catches a wave that is the pipsqueak who's never even touched an oar, and suddenly they just won the jerseys. You don't know. It's amazing what can happen out there with the ocean. So it's really fun.
The element.
Colin, have you ever competed in or watched the Gaudis?
Oh yeah, I did the bag pickup a couple times.
Okay,
I love that race.
So can we show you? So I got a mug up there. So just to
okay. You got
a
a
mug.
mug.
Yeah. I used to do the
Nice.
singles.
Okay.
But that's an amazing race that I think would be really something to watch because it's individual races and that to me is just an amazing thing. That would be something to film live and then broadcast it out.
Yeah, last year we were supposed to go, but it was a nor'easter, so we couldn't fly the drones and we couldn't get the cameras out. But it was the biggest surf that they've had in years, and I was kicking myself. I'm like, I should have wrapped that camera up in some trash bags and went out there because there was some like incredible wave riding that was going on. I was like, I saw pictures afterwards, and I was like, "Oh, that would have been great."
Colin, you know what you're gonna have to get. Listen, you're gonna have to up your game. Forget about the drone. You know what you're gonna have to get. The helicopter.
Get a helicopter.
Yeah, listen. I'm just telling you. You wanna go.
Bigger is better.
You got
and a sea bob for the in water shots.
It's funny you say that because like
that's what you need, a helicopter. You could rent one out.
I know the Dadville guys. They had a helicopter for their finals when they streamed it, and the guy came to me and he's like, "We got to figure out a way to get a helicopter shot, but without the price." And I was like, "Drones."
Yeah.
It's like, what if it rains? I was like, no drones.
Yeah. Well, the drones technology is getting better and better. It's amazing.
Oh yeah.
I binge watch with my granddaughter Bondi Beach. We love that. And but when I watch it, I like the content, but I really try to step back and look at how they film it. I mean, they're really good what they're doing over there. And
It's a big production.
It's really great. They're smooth and they got cameras all over the place and they edit the angles and it's really nice. They actually did a MTV was down in Seaside many years ago, and they had the MTV houses, and then they also had the Jersey Shore, Snooki and all of that. But when they had the MTV houses, they hooked up with us. I know they hooked up with us, and they wanted to actually do a lifeguard show, a reality lifeguard show. And the town said, no way, they're worried about it. But what they did.
So what are we doing now? We're making our own.
But what they did,
exactly.
but what they did though is they had this thing where they had like 7 or 8 people who wanted to become a lifeguard, and the captain Al at the time put him through all of these things, and actually it was pretty interesting because one, they brought a helicopter in, I'm not kidding around, and they put him up in the helicopter and they jumped out of the helicopter, and I was below it because Al, my captain, goes, listen, you got to go there, doing a shoot today, and you got to be below in case anything happens. I'm like, what do you mean they're going to drop these kids out of the helicopter?
Oh my God.
But I'm there sitting there, and I've never been.
They weren't even lifeguards yet. You were just
No. They weren't even actors. They were just knuckleheads. Maybe they were. But the thing is, if you've ever been, I've never been under a helicopter. I mean, the air just it hammers you, So they dove off there, and they had all kinds of things, and it's eventually somebody won it. It's still you could still archive it, I think, on YouTube.
Probably watch it.
And so that was about the closest we came to our fame of that. But that was a really smooth operation. MTV, obviously they were they were big.
I mean, they gotta be.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. Well, that's
that
great.
reminds me of a Budweiser commercial where I had a stunt class, and the stunt guy was like, here's the craziest stunt I've ever seen. And this guy did a stunt where he was on the 30th floor of a building, got shot, set on fire, busted with a bottle over his head, thrown out a window, and fell 30 stories into an inflatable blanket.
Wow.
Like, this legitimately happened, and this guy got paid like millions of dollars by Budweiser because, like, if he died, that's it.
Yeah.
We're all screwed.
Wow. Do you think about, competition is one thing. Do you think about branching off and maybe also, it's on a big ocean day watching like actually, rescues going on or different kind of, I don't know what else. Is that not something that you would be interested in? Or
I don't know if we could do the rescue side of it just because of the legal liability issues with that. But I can say that we tried last year to do something called the off season, which was to interview different members of Beach Patrols and the winning. It was going to start with the winners of Jersey. And then I quickly realized that if you want to do an off season thing, you would need to have them all local, and they'd have to be free. And I ended up driving to Temple for one, and she was great. But then I was like, wait a minute, why am I driving to Temple for something that, I'm not going to, this costing a lot of money to do this stuff. But this year I know to get these guys to talk to them properly, get them before they leave.
Yeah.
Like, talk to them in early August or right after Jerseys, talk to them, get interviews down, and then save that for the rest of the season. And just, I want to get because that's the thing is like with lifeguards, you see them on the beach and they're like, oh, that person's got to be a fantastic swimmer and this person's got to do that. But at the end of the day, it's just like, well, they're a human being. The one girl that we talked to that was from Temple, she's studying at Temple. She rows at Temple. She's like a planter, avid planter. You wouldn't know this stuff unless you walked up to and talked to it. So I was like, this is how we humanize these people. They're not, she won jerseys by open water, but she's a human being that does human being things. This is the next step.
Yeah, for the viewer, you were trying to get them out of just being the people in the boat, huh?
Yes. Yep. Yeah. And I think that'll help sell the thing too, where it's like things like baseball and football, you have the person, you have the individual, and they're getting recruited from this university and that university, and they have their personalities, and that all plays into like the draft and which teams, and people root for certain players, and that means they root for different teams. Like, all that's there. You got your different towns and the recruiting from the different universities and high schools, and we're just missing that kind of interaction between the public and the athletes that could possibly exist.
And like lifeguards, we all know each other for the most part.
Exactly. Yep.
Like Lava guys know Seaside, and all the South Jersey guys, I'm sure, are familiar with each other. So building that rivalry, is that something you're looking at?
Exactly. Yeah. Like, one of the things we were looking at an angle which didn't really pan out was to have the local newspapers publish stories and then put the art, the clips from the live streams into the paper and be like, oh yeah, look, here's the Ocean City Beach Patrol guys going at it and getting third place in this race or whatever, and like, against their longtime rival Sea Isle, and suddenly it becomes like a rivalry thing where it's like, for example, as a guy who lived in Philadelphia for 4 years, it was like the Eagles when they went and played the Patriots in the Super Bowl. It was like, let's go Birds,
The local paper didn't want to like.
Oh, that's the problem with it's not that they didn't want to. It's just that it's print media, and print media, unfortunately, is not long for this earth.
Yeah.
So they're understaffed and overstored, and it was nothing against them. I could tell if they were just like, yeah, it's a great idea, we'd love to do it. We just don't have the personnel to do something like that.
You know what I think would be great is if someone could get like 5 or 6 beach patrols to agree to like play like a lifeguard competition like season over the summer, where like it's like a weekly thing. You do smaller competitions, maybe like 1 or 2 races, and beach patrols travel to each other over like a 6-week season.
Yeah, so you can win points over time.
Yeah, and you cover it like a league table almost.
Yeah. I mean, the South Jersey down here from the group, they call themselves the South Jersey Chiefs, but really it's just Brigantine to Cape May Point. Those guys do that same thing where it's like that's why we called it the series originally, because the idea was to like do the Brigantine race, and that's like a weird thing. And then you would go to like the Cape May County Championship, and that's got a select group of people. And then you go to the Margate Memorials, and and you go to Dutch Hoffman's, and that's another race all these beach patrols are traveling, and most of them have up to 10 to all 15 moving around and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. But a points trophy, that is an idea that could be really fun.
Yeah,
if they decided to keep that out.
We should talk off air more about this and talk about collaborating on something like that maybe sometime in the future.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of. I know with around here, it's got to be high tide. It's got to be at the end of the day. All of these things are limits the amount of tournaments you could have. Now there's stuff too with the boats. There's a whole controversy about that. But I think that in our area, competition is not going to go away, and I think it's important. And I think that I think it's a great idea to video it and advertise it. What I like to do is also I want to reach out to the rest of the world. See, that's one of the things that I have aspirations. I want to bring. I'm hoping that we could tap into the world market, and not because I want to make money, but there's so many lifeguards. I want to have somebody from Brazil sending us some videos here, and or like you link in and show us a competition there's tons of coast in Brazil, and I know there's lifeguarding there, and was it Rio de Janeiro? How do you
Rio
de
de
Janeiro? I mean, I know they have major rescues there. I've seen some videos from.
Gosh, can we play a game where we just give you really hard words?
Hard words to
Well, I'm
say.
dyslexic. I have hard, but believe it or not, I graduated pretty high in my
Portuguese
class.
words.
You do well.
But the
nothing but
the
Portuguese
United
words.
Emirates, I've seen they've had
Qatar
lifeguard.
2024. What is
Right,
it?
right. And the Australians. I mean, it goes on and on.
22, it's this winter.
Yeah.
The World Cup.
Yeah. So
Are
It's
you a
interesting.
soccer fan, Colin?
I do not watch soccer, but I'm gonna have to get into it now that Philadelphia is hosting it. They call it. We're gonna get this John on. I was like, let's go. That's like, I don't know if you remember, there was a natural gas power plant that exploded, or processing facility that exploded in North Philly a couple years ago.
I do
And
remember that.
Yeah, one of the papers, it said John Noble. See it from my house. I was like, guys, this is not funny.
That's such a good word.
John Noble. My mom, who grew up in West Philly and Upper Darby, was like, no, that's not a word. It doesn't exist. And I was like, I want you to go to Philly and look somebody from Philly in the eyes and say, John is not a word. You will die.
Yeah, they're not gonna like that.
No, they're not going to like that. Ugh.
Water ice? What is that?
Water.
Water ice?
Water. Yeah. There was a really good SNL sketch that they did. It was making fun of that Kate Winslet biopic, and it was just they were leaning so hard into the Philly accent, and it was like, I give you a cheesesteak, take the edge off, and like, murdered my daughter. My daughter had a daughter, and her daughter got murdered and murdered by her daughter. It's just like this, just like ridiculous overcompensation of Delco accents that we all love and hate at the same time.
Yeah. Do you guys think that there's anywhere else in the country where, like the tri-state, where there's so many different accents, like Staten Island,
No, we have so many
Jersey
people.
accents,
Yeah.
Philly
Jersey.
accent,
Yeah. Colin, I went to school in Philly. I was at Temple. I lived in
Okay.
Philly for 5 years, and I did my residency outside of Philly in West Jersey. So
Okay.
I always
know it,
remember,
you know too
and
well.
anytime there was something happened in the city, murder or an accident or something even good, somebody ball game, they go down to Geno's? What's the two steak places?
Geno's and Pat's.
Right, and they're like open 24 hours a day.
Yeah,
You go down there,
it lines out the door all day. Yep.
and they go interview people there. It's
Yeah.
always. I remember that, and I remember going here the first time. It was like 4:00 at night. Had a couple cocktails. They bring you down here and the steaks and the cheese fries, and that place is like amazing. I don't know how it is now. I've been there in years and years, but that
Put
was.
your pulse on Philadelphia society. It's just go to the cheesesteak place. Go down to South Street. Yeah. You'll find out exactly what's going on in Philly.
Yeah, that's that. I always used to remember that. I had a great time. That was before was it First Street where all the ships they had the docks there, and then they made restaurants out of them and everything.
Yep.
That was kind of like after my time, but I used to go back there. I enjoyed Philly. Philly was really great.
I feel like
Yes.
a fish out of water. Like
You don't know anything
bad
about-
pun, but like in the city, not my thing.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter how many times I've been in New York City. Like I come out of the train station and I'm just like,
yeah.
Whoa.
I lived in the city too.
some
New
homeless
York.
guy almost beat my ass in the bathroom at Penn Station.
Don't ever make eye contact.
Yo,
That's
this
the
guy-
first
this
rule in
guy-
the city.
This guy comes into the bathroom with a city bike. Like, was it Penn? What's the
Yeah.
one under Madison Square Garden? Is that Penn Station?
Is it, or is it? Yeah, it's Penn Station.
Penn
Yeah,
Station.
Yeah,
So
I use Penn
I'm in the
Station.
bathroom in Penn Station. This guy walks in with a city bike and then just literally just shoulders me out of the way. And I gave him like a look, and he's like, I'm gonna f you up. And I was like, I'm out of here, dude.
See ya. Oh my god.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm like you, man. I am
Not-
such a
Yeah.
I'm just like
It does take
walking
a
at all the
certain person.
buildings, like, oh, that's pretty.
Yeah, when I went to school in Philly, it was the late '80s, and it was like a
Wild
big
time.
town. It used to close down at 12 o'clock. It wasn't because I went to school in New York. I was up in North Jersey, and so I hung out in New York a lot. New York never sleeps, but Philly used to shut down pretty quick. And I remember,
yeah?
Philly was definitely not New York City. I was there
Were
when
you-
I'm sorry, Ged. I was like
Oh, were
80.
you there in the when they had the they dropped the bomb on that person's
Yes.
house? And
Yes, we were watching
I
that.
lived
Right.
across the street from where they did that.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
was
and
my sophomore dorm.
And I was
Great.
I was there when they won the what is it, the what'd they win? They won a couple things. The
When Rocky beat Mr.
no,
T.
no, it was baseball. Baseball. When they won the world, they won the World Series. What year was that? 88, 87. When they
Yes,
won,
yes.
I
was back
remember
then, yeah.
I was living downtown, and you could hear the stadium erupt because I was like on 8th, 9th Street, somewhere in there.
Okay.
And they had people were jumping, just crowds of people were going down the streets, just jumping on one from the hood to the top of the car. It was crazy.
Losing
That
stuff.
town.
That's what happened at the Super Bowl too. Like they were like
Yeah.
climbing up the things, and I remember I was there. I was there at
Philly.
City Hall. People were breaking. Like some guy jumped off a banister. You heard the leg crack, and you're like, "Oh, okay." And then the SWAT team rolled up, and I was like, "See ya." But like the one guy I talked to, I was like, what is going on? Like, what is going on? He's like, "Hey man, think about it. All we got in this town is a guy with a lisp and English is his second language is our sports hero. Now we got a real sports hero. Let's go, Nick Foles."
Yeah, but if you think back in the
It's like
day,
Philly fans, like, they're even angry when they win. It's crazy.
But
I
back
know,
in the day,
exactly.
the Phillies, they were unbelievable. They had a great baseball team for a while. The ice hockey.
Don't I look like I belong on the Phillies in the 80s
ice
with this
ho-
mustache?
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I really did. I had a really good time in the city back then. I think it's getting a little shaky now, but I'm not there. I don't want to comment because I'm not there every day. But I had fond memories. I just want to let you know I enjoyed it immensely, especially the food, the restaurants. Oh my God, they
Can't beat
were.
a Philly
So,
cheesesteak.
so Colin, what else are you working on, like, creatively outside of lifeguarding and surf racing?
Okay, yeah. So we're doing the broadcast stuff, and that's fun and all. But our main thing that we've always done is commercial advertisement, narrative filmmaking. We had to take a little bit of a pause in narrative filmmaking, but it used to be once a year we would release some sort of a short film, which is exciting.
I saw the movie with all the rock albums.
Oh yeah.
remakes.
That was my love letter. That was my senior thesis. Yep.
I kept looking at the one with the Alice in Chains, I think it is, and I was like, I know this. I know what this is.
You know
from.
it.
Yeah.
You know it. There was so many references in that movie. I kind of wanted it to be like a field day for anybody who knows 90s, because I grew up. My mother opened for Bon Jovi in the 80s, so like I
No
grew up on
shit.
hard rock. Yeah,
Oh wow.
before
Nice.
Bon Jovi was Bon Jovi, they opened up for him at a dive bar in New Jersey one time, whatever. But
Soft flex.
like I grew up
Yeah,
on
soft flex.
soft flex. But we grew up in the house on like hard rock. So when I was like thinking of my senior thesis, I'm like, what is something I could do? And I had these two character ideas floating in my head, who ended up becoming the two characters. And I'm like, I need a situation they fit into. And then I went to see a concert, and I saw how like this lead singer was, and I was like, there it is. That's what it is. And then I just threw all the references to the music I love in there. Like there's a scene where she's on a beach, and it's totally a shout out to the Temple of the Dogs hunger strike. They're on. Chris Cornell and Eddie Vedder are just standing on a beach. Eddie's standing in the bushes for some reason, and Chris is just staring on you. It's weird, but it's like that's the '90s. But I threw a whole bunch of stuff in there. And
I got to see Chris Cornell in like a small theater in New Brunswick when he was doing these acoustic tours. Like 200, 300 people. It was insane.
Yeah,
He's
probably sold out quick.
fantastic. Yeah.
It's a shame he's gone on. They all have him, Scott, Lane.
Eddie's still around.
Eddie is the only one.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think that Eddie is the only one that's sticking around. Good for him. It's like with Ozzy Osbourne, where they took his DNA and they sequenced it so they could figure out how people can live on drugs.
Or the guitarist from Rolling Stones.
That too, yeah. It's like, oh, it's Johnny Depp. I mean, sorry, Captain Jack Sparrow in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Colin, what are the two races that are gonna be on that NBC is gonna put on their streaming service?
So as of right now, the plan is to have the Ventnor City Women's Race, which is often referred to as the Women's Jersey. Just they have to keep that name because that's what they've been using for years. And then that's followed up in 2 days by the Men's Jerseys, which is the South Jersey Championship.
And that's at
It's
Ventnor too?
No, that one's actually in Longport. This is the first time that they're going to be within 3 miles of each other.
Okay.
Actually, no, last year was the same thing, but like you literally can see the other beach. Like when we set up, we're like, weren't we just here 2 days ago? But no, we were 3 beaches down. Because it's literally three. It's like LBI, where it's like all these islands are right next to each other on Absecon Island, and it's exciting because like that was one of the things I really pushed for, was to have this inclusivity with the women, because like a lot of the times with these racing, it's just kind of like, oh, there's the women's race, but people don't get that it's just as big for them as it is for the guys. It's just that the guys one has been happening for longer. So when they were like, what races do you think we should do? And I was like, well, here's the 4 that we did last year. And they were like, well, why don't we just do the big championship one? And I was like, you got to throw the women's race in there. And they were like, actually, that's a good idea, because they weren't thinking about it that way. They were just thinking about what's going to get the most views and stuff, because it's the championship. But I was like, the women's race is just as big. It just doesn't have the fancy title. And they were like, oh, okay, and we can make that work too. And I said, it'd be great, because then you get twice as many people watching, and you do a favor for the South Jersey community, because the women's racing is just as interesting and just as competitive. And
is the men's not a co-ed race?
No, it is a lot of these South Jersey races are all men dominated. They have their own separate races. So like there's the Longport Women's Invitational, there's the Ocean City Women's Invitational, but like if you go to like Dutch Hoffman's, it's just men. I mean, women can compete. Like I've seen women rowers sometimes compete. If they don't have enough people, like May Point or somebody who has like 10 people in their beach patrol, will throw like a women's crew in there just for fun. But like, or swimmer, sometimes female swimmers are just, the bee's knees and compete all the men. Yeah. There was a couple of years where I think there was a girl from Ocean City that was winning it all, and she was incredible. But for the rowing stuff, it's almost all men. And then they don't have women's events separate. And I think that's kind of a travesty, because like it's the competition of like who's got the best beach patrol, but we're just going to cut 50% of the population of our beach patrol out because we don't have time. Like, what the hell, guys?
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, we can do better.
Let me, it's up here. It's funny too, because a lot of the beaches here, like La Valette, Seaside Park, State Park. I mean, I bet half the beach is women, and they're tough. I was just there this Saturday doing off-beach rescues, and I tell you, there was 2 girls in the rookies. And I tell you, oh man, they were tough as really. And I think you make a good point. Their competition is just as exciting. They have a competition up here. I don't know what it's called. It's up in Sandy Hook, and it was suspended because of Corona, and they're coming back again with it. I'm going to try to have my granddaughter do the junior lifeguarding. She's 9 years old. She's 9 years old, and she's 5'8" now. So
yeah, she's big.
Yeah, she's an animal. And but
she gets taller every single time I see her. She's like she towers over you now. She's like solid 2 inches taller than.
No, she's not that tall yet. But we have a lot of junior lifeguarding programs up here. I don't know if how it is in South Jersey, and that's another whole area of competition that I'm really excited about. Like in Seaside Heights, we have about 70. How many junior lifeguards?
A lot.
We have a big program,
and same thing with say Seaguard. Now Island Beach State Park, they're actually paying their junior lifeguards, like $15 an hour to train. It's a new state program. They experiment with it, I guess, so these kids will be ready to go and become lifeguards when they turn 16.
Oh, that's awesome!
Isn't that something?
Wish I was up there.
Yeah. Can you imagine getting paid $15 an hour? But I think that. What I would like to see, and everybody worries about liability and everything, you could key down, but I'd love to see these kids compete too. I mean, they're tough. I mean, maybe when they're, 12, 13, 14. So that's another whole thing. But I want to see the women's
AAU type deal.
Yeah. I know a lot of parents would love to watch that. A lot of parents would love to watch that.
At Strathmore, we used to invite 3 or 4 other beach patrols, and we would do our own little junior guard race at the end of the summer. And it was always really fun. I mean, that's how I got started in this thing. It was like, oh, this is really fun competition-wise. You'd be rowing with you would have like an adult in the stern, for tailing in case you did catch a wave and they didn't want you to die. But you would go race to a flag like you would on a normal race. And it was exciting, for a 13-year-old kid to be like, hey, I'm in a surf boat and I'm out in the ocean and I'm racing,
Yeah.
just like the big guys. But no, I think that's a great idea to have like some sort of like larger scale high school / middle school rowing program or swimming program.
Colin, do you do any dry events for the SJL?
Dry events
Like
like
beach flags or distance runs? You
oh,
do
we did do it for Dutch Hoffman's there. That's the thing about the South Jersey races down here. There's not a
all
lot of
boats.
all boats, it's all paddle boards, it's all swim, and then sometimes there's a run. So for Dutch Hoffman's, we actually did have a run, which was great because the drone could easily spot. Like the swim is next to impossible to figure out what's going on. You just see
Bodies
you
flopping.
see flailing of water, and the
It's like
drone's like,
salmon
"Let me get
upstream.
down low," and our commentators are like. It looks like an orange cap. Oh no, that looks green. You know, it's like we don't know what's going on. And sometimes you see like a tussling going on because they're beating each other up out there. Which
Have you
apparently doesn't.
considered having a jet ski in the water for these events?
We have. It's just the problem is the cost of having waterproof equipment is so astronomical that it's like cost prohibitive, and it's just like, well, we can get the same kind of shot for now with the drone, but in the future, if this thing does get bigger,
When
we
it
might
does.
consider doing
When?
that. Yeah, when.
When?
We will definitely consider doing maybe like a launch camera on some sort of boat, like a jet ski, like that, and then seeing what we can do with that.
GoPros have streaming capabilities or no?
Not by themselves.
They do, but they won't be able to reach us. Like there's a Wi-Fi capability. I think the newest one lets you tether to a computer using USB, but again, we don't have anything that long. Like
Just sit out on the sled with a MacBook. You'll be fine.
The funny thing is that might not be too far from what we actually do. Because this new camera we got is like, oh, you can go to the internet directly, and I'm like, how? Oh, plug your phone in, and you can use the cellular on that. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah. Actually, I was watching something where you could actually put a tracker on the swimmer or the individual, and the camera will pick that up. It'll track them right to them. I don't know how it does it. I don't know if it's a GPS, a Jeep, and I'm sorry,
they have camera systems now for like soccer that you could just set it up on the side. It's just a swiveling camera and it just follows the ball.
Right, and but you could put a tracker. I see the surfers do it. They'll put a camera on the beach and then they put a tracker on them, and the camera will track them. Maybe it's like Wi-Fi. I don't know how far it goes, and so when you're riding a wave, the camera will just pan and watch you.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, because I watched on the beach and the camera's moving. I'm like, wow.
Actually, there's a surf cam footage of one of the rescues that one of our guys went on last weekend. It's pretty cool. I'll send it to you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You should see him hopping off the stand and sprinting through the whitewash.
I'm going to try to get some. I'm going to try to get some footage this summer of some real lifeguard, like rescue. Hopefully, I'll have it where I go in with. I'll have the GoPro strapped on. But I tried it different ways. It's the thing. You put it on your chest. You put it on your head. I mean, you can't swim. I tried swim with it. It's hard. Unless you're a bystander and try to watch it as they swim by. But how do you set all that up? Unless it's.
Does your GoPro have the gimbal thing in it, or do you know?
Yeah, his does.
No, well, my GoPro has it's a GoPro 10 or 9. It anti-shake. You could run. You'll watch the video that I had when I was running down the trails. It doesn't. It's perfect. It's really nice.
On Island Beach?
Yeah. Wait,
Nice.
we have footage. So I just did about an hour's worth of filming at Island Beach. So what they do there, Island Beach State Park, they have what's called off beach. They got about 8 miles of beach, and probably only about a mile of it is guarded. The rest is unguarded. And what will happen is there's tons of people down there on their trucks, and they could park and they go down there, and somebody will call 911. And what the beach patrol will do is will launch a jet ski, but they'll also launch a truck with a bunch of lifeguards. The truck goes down, and there's different dune entrances like A22, A19, A16. They roll up and they run. They take all their equipment, and you got to run over the dunes. And I'm telling you, it's a long run. And then you hit the beach, and you look for the victims. It's a whole kind of thing. And then you go, you look at them. They might be 200 yards out. And for these mock rescues, these people were like 200-300 yards out. And that was a big ocean that day. It was like 3 to 5 foot swells, and we all went out. And so they would go out and make the rescue. So it's pretty wild. And so I got a lot of video of that, but all just with GoPro stuff. So that's a unique thing. I don't think any beaches do that that I know of, have off-beach rescues in this area in New Jersey. It's probably one of the only beaches that has that phenomenon that they do. So it's pretty neat. We're going to post that. We're going to do a show. I'll have we're going to have the lieutenant and the captain come on, and we're going to do the scenes, and we'll publish that. So it should be really nice. I got him pulling up. I got him running down. I got him going out, and pulling the people in. So it's pretty. Yeah. It's really really neat stuff.
Catch. What's
what's
that
Matt?
comment say?
Above you.
Best lifeguard podcast on earth.
Yeah, it is.
Damn straight.
Who's
Damn
that?
Not
straight,
biased.
Vinny.
Who?
Thanks, Mom.
Is that Mom?
That's one of our guys.
Oh,
Awesome.
That's a Heights guard right there.
yeah.
Do you guys want to do a quiz?
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
ready
want
for
to
this?
do the
Oh,
cash
boy.
quiz, Kachmar?
Are you ready for
They're gonna beat me up.
Oh,
Colin.
here we
Colin,
go.
you know what it is, Colin? I get this now. When you get to my age, everybody goofs on you. Like my granddaughter, everybody's like, they like I'm like the let's try to stump them.
No, we
So-
designed
No,
the
the
quiz for you
question
to
is-
pass. We designed some for you to
they-
get wrong, though.
How about
Did
giving
they change
Colin
the
some-
quiz to just
Well,
be
he's a
Portuguese
lifeguard.
words?
He can answer with
He's
you.
yeah. Let's see how
Colin, you can
Colin.
be on Kachmar's team.
Yeah, you'll be on Collins. You and I against. Well, we don't have any
Okay.
questions to give you.
Just make sure the
I
words
can
aren't
think
hard to
of-
pronounce,
I'll
please.
think.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I think.
All right, are we ready?
Good.
What is the informal common name? Oh wait, no. Catch Mars quiz. It's a catch quiz.
You've been trying to get a jingle on this the whole time.
Go ahead.
So wait a minute. Here's the question: Are we gonna ask the question and then whoever answers it first gets the points?
No, you both are just trying to pass the quiz. Is there
Very
five-
loosely structured in this studio.
Gotcha.
Is there five questions today?
There's three
Oh,
questions.
great.
Okay.
With
Multiple
long
choice.
answers.
You guys got to get two right then.
Okay.
Yeah.
go
Break
ahead.
out the Scantrons and pencils, kids.
Yeah.
And
This
for
this
dessert, we'll do math.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like my boards. I just took my board questions. I got to do it every 3 months. It's like three minutes, and it's like, oh my god,
well, you have to answer them.
I
on
got to do it
video?
every 30 day, every 90, no, it's every 3 months. I got to do 30 questions. Keep up my board certification. And they're like, and they like some of them are just so, they try to zing
Yeah.
you, but it's all it's good. But anyway, so go ahead.
All right, are we
But
ready?
it's timed. That's the thing. Everything's timed. Good.
What is the informal common name given to the Medusa phase of certain gelatinous members of the subphylum Medusozoa, a
Come
major
on.
part of the phylum Cnidaria? I don't know.
All right, I'll take a wild guess. Zoolander.
The Zoolander.
Oh, what's the
Blue
pose
Steel.
name?
Come on,
Latigra.
that's-
Oh, yeah,
No. What's the one?
Come on, that's ridiculous. That's question nobody
just
can
named
answer.
it Blue
Nobody-
Steel.
Magnum.
Magnum.
It's beautiful.
Nobody can answer that question.
No, we
Even
rented-
Van Troy, we couldn't.
Van
Marine-
Troy would definitely know the answer to that one. I'll get to it in a second. But have you ever seen Zoolander?
Yeah, but I don't remember it.
Oh my God, that movie's amazing. That we got
Blue
that on
Steel,
video.
man.
Me and my brother
It's
rented
all-
that on video when it came out for like when Blockbuster was,
A thing.
still a thing. You know, Blockbuster turned down an opportunity to buy Netflix or to be involved with Netflix.
No.
Yeah,
Oh, that's gotta hurt.
yeah,
That's gotta
big
hurt.
big mess up there. But yeah, I watched that movie a million times. All right, so Kyle, do you have a guess or no?
I'm not even gonna begin to. I'm just,
Name any-
If we're going
any sea
Zoolander
animal.
things, I'm just gonna go with jellyfish.
Bing, ding,
You got it right.
Good.
Oh!
All right, Colin.
Hey, we
Good.
use the context clues. Let's go.
Good,
Jellyfish.
good.
These creatures, known
Good.
for stinging people in the ocean, are 95% water. The word jellyfish lumps together two groups of creatures that look similar but are unrelated. The largest group includes the bell-shaped beings that most people envision when they think of jellyfish, the so-called true jellies and their kin. The other group consists of comb jellies, ovoid, ghostly creatures that swim by and attack their prey with gluey appendages instead of stinging tentacles.
Yeah, we get. They get down.
All told, there are some 1,500 jellyfish species.
Yeah, what I get down. I don't know if you ever guys heard of box jellyfish.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
there's
God.
small ones in Australia. They'll kill you. And the ones that are in the islands, British Virgin Islands, where I go quite often, they're nasty. They're worse than the man of wars that you see in like Florida. So anyway,
My last year on the beach patrol, our recall swim date was the same day that a whole, a school of Portuguese man of war came by our beach. So I was swimming with Portuguese man of war. It was the most terrifying thing of my life. The guy in front of me smacks one with his hand and goes, Oh, we're going in. We're done. I'll never forget that. We're
I
paddling in full speed.
I was down in Florida Keys. We were not even scuba diving, snorkeling, and one of my buddies, and he got hit right across the face in the chest by one of the tentacles, and he almost got to the point where we had to hospitalize him. I mean, he was,
it's bad.
It was pretty bad. But
They say you're supposed to just rinse it off with ocean water and get whatever kind of like barbs or whatever out of your skin. And
no,
that's it.
we
Maybe
have
some- maybe
vinegar.
They say
And then-
pissing on it makes it worse.
In high school, we were like, we're doing the thing
Vinegar,
like
it's
what
vinegar.
animals combined would be like the most dangerous. So people go like gorilla and lion and stuff. And someone went box jellyfish and mosquito.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It just blew
Oh.
all of our minds.
Oh.
Because
Yeah,
the breeding
Instant
and
death.
the
Well, mosquitoes already are like the most dangerous animal. They kill more people than anything.
yeah, but now
ever.
like instantly.
Well,
they just kill
insect,
you.
insect, but not an animal. But you're right. So
Yeah, but it's in the animal kingdom.
malaria, yellow fever.
Joe Rogan says that malaria from mosquitoes has killed more people than anything ever.
Probably a good, yeah.
And we all know how much of a trusted
yeah.
source of information he is.
Yeah,
well-
anything he says, it's like the encyclopedia. Right
Yeah.
there. Human knowledge is Joe Rogan.
Hey, we wouldn't be
All right.
doing this without him.
All right, let's go to the next one because we're gonna get in.
Okay. Are jellyfish non-binary?
Let me think about that one. Non-binary. Non-binary.
yes.
Wait. I get a whole problem with this.
I know you do.
So binary would mean you go both ways. Non-binary means you're straight, like one way. Like I don't give me
No,
the.
no,
I think it's the
I-
other way around.
I'm the
No,
old
see, I think
generation,
it's-
Colin. This binary and
Like,
fluid.
I'm pretty sure
and
I'm binary, right?
I have no friggin' idea what you are.
Male,
don't know what you are.
male or female. It's off or on. Male or
Yeah.
female. Binary.
So
Zero or
non-binary
one.
means like you don't identify
Yeah.
with a sex.
Yes,
I think
that they
jellyfish
don't.
could be that way. I think they could have,
Yeah,
sex
I think
with
they're-
themselves.
I'm pretty
Like a
sure- yeah, no,
platypus. What's what animal?
I am clipping that. I am clipping the shit out
Yeah,
of
we
that.
put down
You
this is not
gotta
for
play
kids.
that. Put that on the thumbnal right now. Is what kind of animals
Colin,
have sex?
I
it-
think
it-
jellyfish go both can have
Colin,
sex with
Colin.
themselves.
Listen, in the hospital now where I work, right? So now they ask questions, right? And when I was getting my booster for Corona, they go in there and the guy goes, and they know me, right? And they set me up on this. They set me up. They go, Dr. Kachmar, what's your gender? And I'm like, that's easy. I'm a male, Then he goes, what do you declare yourself as? And I'm like, like American? I don't know. He goes, no, what do you declare? I said, and he gave me I said, what's my choices? And he gave me like a whole bunch of choices. I had, binary, this, that. And I said, listen, I'm just going to go with male again. And then he goes, I got one more to ask you. And that was a crowd around, all the nerds, they're like waiting. Like, everybody's making fun of me, and they go, what were you born as? And I'm like, a man? I don't know, So now it's just this is what the three questions they ask you. And, for my generation, it's just hard to understand.
You gotta be careful. You might get throttled here.
Nah. Listen, I'm a doctor. I have a bit of a past. Plus, I'm older, so you could be kind of like a little bit. But it was kind of funny. So we'll give us the last one, and we could.
Well,
Wait, are jellyfish non-binary?
Yeah.
jellyfish do actually have two distinct sexes and the occasional hermaphrodite.
Oh,
The
okay.
most distinct difference being the color of their gonads.
Okay.
Males'
Good to know.
sex glands are pink and females are brown.
So let me ask you this: How
As
can you
you
tell
know,
the
you're
difference
looking at
between
them.
a male and female jellyfish?
The color.
the
gonads.
gonads.
The gonads.
So
You have to
does
go
the
and
jellyfish have a penis? And
You gotta look. You gotta look at the.
sex, yeah.
jellyfish penis. All right, one more. Then we're deteriorating this conversation here. We were all serious.
This is fun.
One more, and then I'm getting tired. Yeah, we had a long day. We worked all on the beach
You
today.
have to get one more to pass the quiz.
Okay.
So,
all right,
so
Go ahead.
jellyfish, just to be clear, cannot have sex with themselves.
Okay. But there are organisms that there are entities that can. I
Yeah,
don't
like
know.
I think worms reproduce asexually.
Dinosaurs from Jurassic Park.
Now, actually,
It's
something
actually
interesting-
flowers. I think there's plants. There are. If I
like-
remember from my biology days.
Jellyfish are super interesting because one, like, there's no brain. Like, it's
yeah, just it's like
it's like it's just some kind of weird like sensory organ. But they start off as like this like collection of like tiny jelly particles, right?
Yeah.
That isn't a jellyfish. It's called like a a philo something, but it can lay dormant in that stage of its life for like up to 10 years. Yeah. And then it waits for conditions to be right in the ocean. And then it like, if you zoom in on it, you see like these little discs, almost like when you're shooting skeet. Is that what it's called? Like the duck, like with the shotgun? And they'll pop off and like a little jellyfish will then kind of like swim away. And also, as I read a really interesting article on the Smithsonian today that was talking about how as oceans are warming, more and more jellyfish are popping up in places that they never had before because they're actually incredibly robust and they can survive in like borderline toxic, like super acidic conditions. There was one study that was done where they took the worst predictions of what the ocean acid levels are going to be for the next 100 to 300 years and dropped these jellyfish in water that was like insanely acidic and they like were unfazed.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to get technically, I mean, we could go into a whole biology class, but I had invertebrate zoology and also marine biology, but all of these organisms will adapt over time to the environment. So anything's possible. Give us the last one so we could, All
right, this one's a real softball, so I think you guys are going to pass the quiz.
Because I'm ready to,
What
resembling an 18th century Portuguese warship under full sail,
Oh,
this sea creature that is commonly confused for a jellyfish is recognized by its balloon-like float, which may be blue, violet, or
this
pink.
Is easy. We know this.
Please let me finish my question. Thank you. And rises up to 6 inches above the waterline. I do a lot of work on this research.
Yeah, let the man speak.
Lurking below the float are long strands of tentacles and polyps that grow to an average of 30 feet and may extend by as much as 100 feet. Gentlemen,
Colin, you could give this one. I'm going to set it up. I'm going to put it over the net. I'm going to get it up the net. Here it is. Here it is. You got to dunk it for us.
It's my best friend, the Portuguese man of war.
The Portuguese man of war. Ding, ding, ding.
Worst week of my life.
Physalia physalis is often called a jellyfish, but is actually a species of, I'm going to butcher this word, Siphonophore, a group of animals
that around and that can pronounce that.
What was up?
Let's try and see if we can pronounce that.
Yeah, right. Oh, Cash, you want to try that one?
No,
Cash, get in there. Rio de Janeiro, right there.
The funny thing about it, when I was in school, I could spell all of these things and write them, but I couldn't. I had a hard time.
We're gonna bring Colin onto the podcast full time.
That's it. That's what I'm here for.
So it's a group of animals that are closely related to jellyfish. Cynosophore is unusual in that it is comprised actually of a colony of specialized genetically identical individuals called zooids or clones with various forms and functions, all working together as one. Each of the 4 specialized parts of a man-o-war is responsible for a specific task, such as floating, capturing prey, feeding, and reproduction. Found mostly in tropical and subtropical seas, men-o-war are propelled by winds and ocean currents alone, and sometimes float in legions of 1,000 or more animals.
Whoa. So I leave you one, because I do, believe it or not, with medicine I do a lot of reading, and they just came out with a study which is pretty interesting. Talk about all the sea, pollution, so the micro plastics out there.
It makes your taint smaller?
Well, no. What happens is...
Who'd you get that from?
Real quickly, but this is pretty interesting, though. Really polio, stays in water for quite a long time. It'll exist, but it'll eventually die. But what they found out is with the viruses, and they did a whole slew of them, I think Corona was one of them, they will last longer. I don't know how much longer when they hook up to these microplastics. So it's actually a good place for breeding. In fact, Van Choi talked about that.
Yeah.
A lot of yeast and bacteria and viruses hitchhike on there, and they could live a lot longer. So there's another whole thing about that. It's pretty interesting. It's changing the whole world dynamic. If there's so much plastic, that means there's so much more bacteria and virus. But anyway, on that note, I think that this was a great show. It's great meeting you. And I'm really excited about your success. You seem like a really dynamic individual, and I think this lifeguard life is something that needs to be celebrated, and people need to see it. I mean, and there's also so many areas. I mean, we're doing a a live show where we're trying to show lifeguarding. We want to show what happens after hours. I mean, you're looking at the competition, and I mean, it goes on and on. And I think it's a great, bright future. And I think a lot of people are learning about lifeguarding, and especially now. All these people who drowned. We're looking to do something locally where we actually have a day or two during the summer where we open it up to the public, and we have like public seminars. We're trying to get some sponsors up here, and I thought that would be a great idea. Like say the Casino Pier, they have thousands. They have a lot of people that come down, and we could have maybe a seminar one day where a bunch of lifeguards and really professional and teach them about dangers of water. There's actually somebody in New Jersey or somewhere, they just wanted to have legislation where you have mandatory water safety in the schools. I forget who talked about that. I just saw that somewhere. So we're all about that too, right, Sean?
Yeah.
We want to educate. We'd love to see where nobody drowns.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's about preventative instead of actual action.
Yeah,
Colin, yeah. I saw on your page that you guys are looking for sponsors. What's the best way for people to reach out to you to get in contact about that?
Easiest way about sponsorship is to go to our Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube page. SJL Racing is the tag. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube with the same name. Best way to reach out right now is to DM us on that, and then I'll send you contact information from there. Or you can go to our website, www.5tribescinemaproductions.com, and you can find our phone number and email on the contact sheet. That's the production company that I own that runs the stuff. And if you're interested in seeing the races from a different angle and seeing some interesting highlights and some action shots, and the live streaming of the actual competitions in the Longport with the Ventnor City Women's Race and the Jersey Championships, feel free to tune in on YouTube. We'll be live those 2 days at 6 o'clock sharp on the 10th of August and 12th. And,
awesome.
Wow.
We'll be ready.
What was that? So that was the 10th. So say it again.
Yep.
6
10th
o'clock
of August and 12th. We will be live at 6 o'clock with our color commentators, get you set up. We'll have some interviews. And then sometime in the fall, we'll be taking that race, chopping it down to an hour-long special with interviews and play-by-play, talk about the athletes and how racing works so people can understand. That'll be on NBC Sports Television and also on NBC Sports Plus, which is their streaming platform. And both of those have like 2.22 million subscribers or something crazy. So we'll see what we get out of that. And if those are successful, NBC it would be interested in doing more races and possibly live broadcasts in the future. So we got to get those rookie numbers up, as we say.
Hey,
have you seen? We had a couple shows where we had two individuals who published books. One was Rusty Silverman.
And
Rusty,
Gregory Andrus.
Mm-hmm.
And what was
Rusty? Actually, was our sponsor last year. He we asked him if we could use one of his pictures as the logo design, and he said sure. And I said, hey, can we just throw your logo on there? And he's like, sure. So he was actually one of our technical sponsors last year. He's a good dude.
He's an awesome dude.
And what was the name of his book? Lifeguard Art.
Lifeguard Art, and then Gregory Andrus.
And his book
Sea,
is
Sand, and Rescue.
Yes.
And his book is really neat about his book is that there's pictures in there, and then you take your phone and you get the is that how does it do it? You go on his webpage,
right?
QR code, and then it goes to his webpage, and then you could listen to the interview of that individual. He profiled a bunch of lifeguards on there. It was really good. Yeah,
he has such an incredible story.
Yeah, if you watch any of our shows, watch when he told us about his life story, how he got to where he is right now. I mean, it'll blow your mind. It's really amazing. He's an unbelievable individual.
It gave you goose pimples, right?
Yeah, it did. Yeah. We've had some really unbelievable interviews. And we had one of our lifeguards here, Nico DeVoe, and he's just this little kid. He comes on a show. I don't know, how old is he now, 20? And then
I think so.
And we didn't know anything about him. I mean, I knew about him, but then he had his mother called in, and this guy's got
the civilian equivalent of the Medal of Honor. He was awarded for an off-duty rescue he made when he was like 14. He paddled out on a surfboard to save someone. And
Wow.
I've known this kid for like 6 years.
And then he got
And
another
never
one.
told
Then he
us.
got
Yeah,
something
yeah.
with the million, and he was in ROTC, so he
Never
got some,
never said a word about it.
then he
So
got
we're
another
on air.
medal, and he just pulled out another. Well, the guy was dead. He just pulled him out now. So the kid's amazing. But anyway, we get some really great things. So you got that venue. You got that aspect. We're doing this. These other guys are doing books. It's amazing. We're all trying to. This community is coming together, and hopefully there's enough of us that the public at large sees us, because there's a million videos, there's a lot of this stuff, but maybe we'll get a little, somebody will hear us, and then everybody will take off. That'd be the greatest thing.
Yeah. Also, anyone that's gonna reach out to Colin for sponsors can also reach out to us.
yeah. Listen. With the sponsorship, you better watch out because I'm pretty
we'll
sure Wawa wrote in their little thing, where you want us to sponsor you? Well, great. Make sure the announcers, they have their little Wawa hoagie sitting on there with their Wawa
Table,
coffee.
right,
And
right.
you
This
have to walk around
broadcast
with
is
a Wawa
brought to
shirt.
you by Hoagie
Yeah.
Fest.
Hoagie Fest. I was like, dude, if I have to tattoo Wawa to my forehead to get them to do this, I'm cool with that. Let's make it happen. My best friend said, well, I pay to see that. And I'm like, well, Wawa is paying to see it. So get in line.
Well, good. Anything, Sean? We good?
Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, I think that it was great. I would surely love to have you back on anytime you want to come on. If we
Absolutely.
could
I
be,
can't wait to watch your coverage.
yeah,
I can't wait for it to start.
yeah,
It's gonna be great.
We're excited. We're definitely gonna watch it, and we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna try to up our game too, and get a lot more video. I'm gonna post the one that we just did with State Park, and hopefully this weekend, 4th of July weekend, we get some really good stuff, and get some rescues.
If you guys want to tag us and stuff, that's one of the things I tried to do last year, but now a lot of people were buying. If you have videos and pictures and stuff, tag us. We'll share it. So it's the whole idea is to get the community going. Yeah. We'll put them in our story. If it's something really cool, we'll repost it. That's the idea I want to start getting, is let's start getting some fun stuff going on here.
Yeah. Well. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We're gonna do some work together, Colin. We're gonna
Yeah.
we're gonna figure something out.
We got some. Like I say,
We'll talk to you.
we got some good footage. We could share it with you for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, anything else, guys? What do we want to say?
This has been awesome.
It's really been good.
Thank you.
No,
It's
thank you.
just so cool through sheer I'm gonna start filming these and sharing it. You now,
Yeah, that's literally it.
you're now sharing it with the world, and that's what we're trying to do. And you're on the same page, and it's been a pleasure to talk to you.
Awesome.
And to help
Thank you for
share
having
that.
me.
All right. Well, listen, we're going to sign off. Who's going to? So
You do.
every day when we close the beach, we have an announcement. These beaches are closing for the day and so forth. So you got to stay out. But at the end, we say, "Stay out." Stay out. You want to do
There
that.
it is.
Stay out. That's such an annoying. That's such an annoying noise. It really is. Stay out and stay alive, everyone. Stay out and stay alive. And thank you for tuning in. And subscribe to our channel. Give us a comment. And also, if you want to get a hold of us, it's drkachmar@icloud.com. Colin, again, it's been a pleasure. And good luck with all your endeavors. You sound like you got a
We'll be
bright
in
future
touch.
ahead of you,
Yep.
man. All right?
Thanks for
Can we
having
get
us
some
on.
seagulls real quick?
Hang on. Let me do this. So I have to do the seagulls. Which one is this? This one?
There it is.
There it is.
Yeah. Let me shut this off. They love that. All right, Colin. Take care.
Yeah, awesome.
Bye-bye.